This is just Vijay Jagdish, and this class is brought to you by Victor Growth Academy. In this class, we are going to discuss Indian polity through a book called the very famous M. Lakshmikant, and this is the latest edition, 6th edition. This book is a must-buy book, and you should have this. And if you have this, then you can go ahead with the following video. Okay. Now, in this book, we need not read all the chapters of the book. That is a very important thing you have to understand. That entire book is not important for the exam. I'll tell you what are the chapters which is required here. Okay, maybe 80 to 85% of the chapters are important. Okay, so first let us see this book. Okay, and have this book in hand before proceeding with this video. Then only you will be useful. So it will be like as if you are sitting in my class and I am teaching you line by line. So even though I know that many people have bought this book and they have kept this book just ideally, they have not touched the book, because it is not a matter of toughness, but a kind of small a kind of laziness, you can say, or a kind of interest is not being there in the subject, maybe like that. So this will be very helpful. So you have bought this book around, I think, 650 or 750 is this book, and so we'll be giving you some classes as a free classes, and some classes you have to pay if you want to have the entire course on this book. Okay, but buy this book. Okay, so this book is a very important, essential. Now in this, what is important, this is the historical background. There's a first chapter called historical background, making of the constitution. These two chapters are important but not of high priority. Okay, high priority, we'll skip this both. Okay, here historical background, normally we study in the history itself. Okay, if you have got a spectrum with you, then this will be very useful. Then making of the constitution, okay, that is also important but not of high priority. Salient features of the constitution, that is also important. So what is the first thing you have to read in the Lakshmikant? Is a lot of people will start reading historical background, then they'll get confused. So what is the first thing you have to read in the Lakshmikant book is you have to read this preamble. So let us start with the preamble. Then after preamble we have to go to citizenship. If you want to note down that, okay, or you have to pen, you have to just tick it. Okay, I'm talking about fourth chapter. Preamble is important. Union and territory, I will not teach you, it's not required now. Then citizenship is also not required, but now because there is a Citizenship Amendment Act is there, we have to read that as well. Then fundamental rights, very very important. Then directive principles of state policy. Then fundamental duties, amendment of the constitution, basic structure of the constitution, that is all important. Then parliamentary system, not required. Federal system, yes, required. Center state relation, required. Interstate relations, required. Emergency provisions, required. President, required. Vice president, not required. Prime minister, not required. Central Council of Ministers, not required. Cabinet committees, not required. Okay, so in the part 3, central government, I am telling you president is important, and after that vice president is not required, prime minister is not required, central council of minister. And if you ask me, sir, what happens if the question comes? You let the question come. If the question is coming, maybe 1 or nil. Okay, but the chapters which I am going to teach you, from there you can answer 90 to almost 100% questions you can answer from the chapter which I am going to teach you. Okay, so parliament is there. Parliament committees is important. Okay, parliamentary forums, not important. Then you got a parliamentary group, not important, no need to read. So Supreme Court, yes. Judicial review, small section, yes. Judicial activism also, small section you have to read. Public interest litigation, not required. That normally comes in the current affairs, we'll see. Then governor, then chief minister, not required. Chief minister, not required. Governor is required. State council of ministers, not required. State legislature, required, yes. High court, yes. Tribunal, no. Subordinate courts, no. Special provisions of some states, now this is important. Okay, originally it was not important, now the 370 has been removed. So what are those similar articles available for the other states also we have to read. So special provisions of some states at chapter 37 we have to read. Okay, local government, Panchayat Raj, important, you have to read. Okay, municipality, yes. Okay, then union territories, scheduled areas. Okay, scheduled areas, union territories, we'll wait and see. Anyway, we'll come by this time. We'll have to, because Union Territory, they have done a lot of modification. They have converted Jammu Kashmir to Union Territory. Then Dadra Nagar Haveli and this one Dadra Nagar Haveli. One more is there, no? Diu Daman, Dadra Nagar Haveli and Diu Daman, both has been clubbed into one union territory. So that we have to maybe important from that angle. Then constitutional bodies, all constitutional bodies you have to read. Non-constitutional body you have to read completely. Other constitutional dimensions not required. Public dynamics, political parties not required. Role of regional parties not required. Elections not required. Here only one thing you need is an anti-defection law. Anti-defection law, yes, required. Foreign policy is here. It is very clear and good, even though it is not a part of the Indian polity in the exams. But read this foreign policy. If you have a foreign policy like in your exams, then definitely will have in all the exams. So definitely read that foreign policy as well. Then National Commission review the working of constitution not required as if now. So what you can say, like almost I have reduced some 20 to 25% of the chapters I have removed, so remaining we have to see. So in this first video we'll discuss starting with the preamble. So have this book, the 6th edition. If you have 5th edition also, no problem, but I recommend you be the latest, so buy this book, that is always good. Okay. And if you have 5th edition preamble, I don't think any changes has come. You can use the same book for the preamble. When the changes are coming, I'll tell you that is the changes. And if you want, you can take only those photostats also possible, I think. Okay. Yeah. Now let us start with the preamble. Chapter number 4. We have got preamble of the Constitution. Okay, the American Constitution was the first to begin with the preamble. Okay, so the preamble is not the first time it is there in the any constitution. Already in the Constitution of USA, the preamble was existing. The USA Constitution starts with the preamble, and recently in one press conference, Donald Trump has said that our constitution, that means Indian Constitution and the US Constitution, is having a same 3-letter word, we the people. Okay, so that is how the similarity between the two countries he was saying. So yes, the preamble is taken from the America. So underline the word America. So there is a question where the preamble has been inspired from or taken from. The answer is America. Okay, many countries including India followed this practice. The term preamble refers to the now write down. Okay, now underline. See, actually when you are taking this, don't take a separate note. If you got Lakshmikant, just underline it, and when I am asking you to write, just write in the top or the side. Okay, that's it enough. Okay, no need to have a separate note, no need to create another Lakshmikant book. Okay, so try to save time. Okay, time is what it matters. Okay, so here I am asking you to underline the word American Constitution. So it is inspired from the American Constitution. And what this preamble means? It means introduction or preface to the Constitution. Okay, preamble means introduction or preface to the Constitution. And also underline the word, it contains summary or the essence of the Constitution. It has got summary or essence of the Constitution. Okay. Then N.A. Palikwala, an eminent jurist and constitutional expert, called the preamble as an identity card of the Constitution. So sometimes in the normal PSC exam they are asking this question. UPSC has not asked. Okay, but still, if you want, as a matter of fact, you can write. Okay, no need to always mention who said this. When you are writing the descriptive type of answers, you can say it is an identity card of the Constitution. So preamble is an identity card of the Constitution. The preamble of the Indian Constitution is based on the objective resolution. Now, what is this objective resolution? See, when the Constitutional Assembly was created, okay, now write down in the top. Okay, Constitutional Assembly was created by the Cabinet Mission Plan. Okay, Cabinet Mission Plan. Okay, Cabinet Mission Plan has created Constituent Assembly. When the Constituent Assembly assembled, everybody is new. No, they don't know what to do. Nobody had an idea what is the Constitution. Nobody had an experience of Constitution. But Jawaharlal Nehru, being a person who has travelled a lot, okay, he understands. He has seen all the Constitution. So he actually brings a resolution in the Constitution, in the Constituent Assembly. That resolution is known as objective resolution. And this objective resolution, write down, was adapted as a preamble. The object resolution drafted and moved by the Pandit Nehru and adopted by the Constituent Assembly. It has been amended by 42nd Amendment Act. Okay, so the preamble was brought by Jawaharlal Nehru into the Constituent Assembly, and this was adopted by the Constituent Assembly as a preamble, and the preamble was amended by the 42nd Amendment Act. Now write down, that is the only time, okay, you can say only time when the preamble was amended is by 42nd Amendment Act. Okay, so you can write in the top or you can underline simply. Now I recommend only to use pencil only, don't use pen when you are reading for the first time. Okay, when you are using pen, then you will be having corrections may be required, or it will not look a feel good, okay, comfortability. But when you go for second reading, you can go for pen. Okay, but first reading, okay, if you have not written anything in this paper, in this page, but use pencil only. Okay, 42nd Amendment Act happened in 1976. Okay, which added 3 new words: socialist, secular, and integrity. Below that, write down SSI. Okay, SSI. SSI means socialist, secular, and integrity. So this 3 word has been added by the 42nd Amendment Act, and this is the only amendment that has happened in the preamble. Okay, the preamble in its present forms reads. Now you need not memorize this, okay, but you should at least read this at least 4 or 5 times. Okay, so read along with me. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into, underline the word sovereign, okay, socialist, secular, democratic. Okay, so what is there? So yes, S for socialist, sorry, sovereign, S for socialist, S for secular, DR. Okay, so triple S DR, write down that triple S DR. First is a sovereign, second one is socialist, third one is secular, and fourth one is democratic and the republic. Okay, now this 5 letters describe the form of government in India. The form of government in India. What is the form of government in India? What type of governance is happening in India? We can say it is a sovereign government, it is a socialist government, it is a secular government, it is a democratic government, it is a republic government. Each of this you should have a good meaning also, which I will be explaining. Okay, then comes justice. We'll be giving justice, social justice, economic justice, and political. So underline this. So SEP, write down SEP, social. So 3 types of justice is mentioned in the preamble. Okay, now one thing I'll tell you, okay, if you want to underline, if it will be there anyway, otherwise write down in the top. Okay, not justiciable. Okay, not justiciable. That means the preamble is not justiciable. Whatever is mentioned in the preamble, and you want to get this, and you want to go to court and implement this, that is not possible. Okay, only fundamental right is enforceable. Okay, so this preamble is not enforceable. So here they have given justice. That means the constitution is willing to give social justice, economic justice, and political justice. In this social justice and political justice we have achieved, but economic justice not achieved. So that is why I am saying preamble is not justiciable. Preamble is not justiciable. Okay, so you are with me? Okay, yeah. Equality of, so before that, liberty of thought, okay, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Okay, this I have seen one question they are asking, which of the following is not a liberty which is guaranteed in the preamble, which is there in the constitution. So we have got freedom of thought. Okay, T, then E for expression, B for belief, F for faith, and W. So you should write this acronym TEBFW. TEBFW. T for thought, E for expression, B for belief, F for faith, and W for worship. Okay. Then equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among all them. Okay, and to promote among all them. That means there is a equality is there in the preamble. Okay, that is the social justice. Everybody is equal in the eyes of the law. Okay, fraternity. Fraternity is another word. This has been inspired from the French Revolution, assuring the dignity of the individual and unity and integrity of the nation. Okay. Fraternity. So fraternity word is also mentioned in the preamble. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day, November 1949. So what do you understand? This the preamble was adapted and enacted and given to the people. People have taken this on 26th November 1949. So read this again. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adapt. What they are doing? Adapt, enact. What is this? Enact and give to ourselves. So who is giving this to whom? People are giving to themselves. We give ourselves this constitution. Okay, so people are giving to the, so that is something you have to understand, the authority of the preamble, why the authority of the constitution itself, like why I should obey this, because it is given by the authority of the constitution lies on the people. Write down that. Okay, in the top you write down. Okay, no need for a separate notebook, guys. That is my request, but still if you want to have, you can have it, but the top you can write. Okay, authority of the constitution lies with the people, because it is mentioned here, it is given to themselves. Okay, it is given to the themselves. Okay, so just one reading of preamble. If you want one more reading, you can do it only for that. Now let us see what is the ingredients of the preamble. The preamble reveals 4 ingredients of the components. Source of authority of the constitution. Okay, this was I was telling you now, the source of authority. The preamble states that the constitution derives its authority from the people of India. Just encircle. Same, I'll ask you to underline sometimes, I'll ask you encircle. So here you encircle the preamble. Okay, here you encircle the preamble. Nature of Indian state. So where is the authority of the constitution derived from? The authority of constitution derived from the people. Nature of the Indian state. It declares India to be sovereign. Underline the sovereign, we have already seen. Okay, socialist, secular, SSSSDR. Okay, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. Okay, these terms we should know, I'll come to it. Okay, objectives of the constitution. It specifies justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. This also we have seen. Date of adoption of the constitution. So 26 November 1949 is mentioned. It is the date of adoption of the constitution. Okay. Now let us see the different words mentioned here. Okay, first one is sovereign. Keywords in the preamble. Certain keywords: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic are explained below. So sovereign means what? Okay, India is a sovereign country. Okay, in Tamil it is known as Iraiyanmai. Okay, in Malayalam it is known as Paramadhigaram. Okay, and in Hindi I don't know. Okay, so it is basically that there is an unquestionable authority over ourselves. Okay, we rule ourselves. Okay, we are not dependent on anybody. We are completely free. We are free from external interference. So what is the word sovereign implies that India is neither a dependency or a dominion of any other nation, but an independent state. Okay, we are not under anybody. Okay, write down that. Just write down that. Others underline that. Neither a dependency or a dominion. Dominion means, you have heard about this word in 1928 when a Nehru report was given. Nehru report asked for dominion status. That is, under the British we will be there and we will be independent, we will be autonomous, but under the British. Okay, but what we actually was intending in 1929 itself, you can see Purna Swaraj was there. Okay, Purna Swaraj. Okay, so what is this? So we are completely independent. We are not dependent on anybody. Okay, we are not controlled by anybody. Okay, there is no authority above us. Okay, and it is free to conduct its own affairs. Okay, we can decide what is good for us. We will do what we like. Okay, so both internal, external. Okay, so now they are saying CAA and Kashmir issue. Malaysia is saying, Indonesia is saying, Delhi riots. People are commenting from the other. Then we are saying that we are independent country. We will have our own our own policies. It is our internal affairs. Do not interfere in the internal affairs. So nobody can come and say that like India, you do this, okay, or you don't do this. Okay, it is not applicable to India. Though in 1949 India declared the continuation of the full membership of the Commonwealth of the nation. Underline this word, Commonwealth of Nations. These are the nations or the countries once they were part of British. Okay, British colony. Okay, only ceremonial. Okay, it doesn't have any kind of authority over us. Just a group of country which says that we were once part of British. Yes, that's it. Okay, and accepted the British crown as the head of the Commonwealth. This constitution, extra constitution declaration, does not affect India's sovereignty. So even though you are a member of the Commonwealth, even though you are a member of the UN, even though you are a member of BBIN, even though we are a member of the SAARC, all this organization membership is voluntary, and anytime we can give it up. And whatever decisions taken on that, this association is not binding on the India. That's what I'm saying. Here read that extra constitutional declarations does not affect India's sovereignty in any manner. Further, India's membership of the United Nations organization, I told you, no way constitutes a limitation on our sovereignty. Being a sovereign state, India has either acquired a foreign territory or being an independent sovereign country, we can either acquire, we can go and attack one country and we can take over that, okay, or we can give a part of our territory to another country also possible. We can decide what we want, okay.